So the Reverend Al Sharpton is now blasting new reports from the New York Times that he and his companies owe millions in unpaid taxes to both the state of New York and to the federal government as well. But now Reverend Sharpton says that the reason that he is being targeted has nothing to do with taxes.
I think it's political. A lot of people don't like the fact that President Obama's the president. A lot of people do not like the fact that Bill de Blasio won for mayor. And they certainly don't like the fact that I'm still here.
Interesting argument, right? Lars Larson is syndicated radio talk show host at Alpha Media Networks. Leslie Marshall is a syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. Welcome to you both. I mean, you know, the hits just keep on coming from Reverend Al Sharpton. You know, the story is that he owes $4.5 million in tax, in rent, and other bills. He says it's been paid down. The exact amount is apparently unknowable at this point. But he says it's all because of the president and Bill de Blasio. What do you say, Lars?
Well, I got to start with the fact that the report initially came from the New York Times. Is he really saying it's the New York Times that doesn't like President Obama as president? Because I thought the New York Times had been in the tank for the president for a long time. The fact is, a good indication of what sorry shape our country is in right now is that the president of the United States has been consulting with this race hustler, Al Sharpton, who's a tax cheat. He's defamed people. He's incited to riot. And he's always manipulated the media to his advantage. And now that the media is actually doing some honest reporting and saying Al owes a lot of money and the amount isn't going down, it's going up, all of a sudden he's unhappy with the media and says they're out there trying to target the president. Really, the New York Times?
You know, I mean, some people, some critics, Leslie, say that, Al Sharpton's close proximity to the White House might make some of these agencies a bit hands-off when it comes to the things that he's done and the money that he may owe. What do you think?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think the New York Times would have reported on this unless, as we've seen, there's past debt, there's an investigation, there's interest that's being racked up. Lars, I find it interesting that you think the New York Times is finally reporting news because they went after Al Sharpton. But I do have to say, we do agree a couple of times a year, and today will be one of those days, my dear Lars, with respect to this is not about the president. This is not about Bill de Blasio, and this is not about race, in my opinion, nor politics, as Al Sharpton is not running. This is about a celebrity who's a reverend, who owes money. That's news, and the New York Times reported it, and I think they were right in doing so. And I have to say, although it is, I believe, sometimes relevant for the race card to be tossed out, as he did with some extended comments, I just not buying it and couldn't believe he did it with this. Doesn't this just fuel the fire, though, Leslie? I mean, when Al Sharpton comes out and says, they're coming after me because of Bill de Blasio, because of President Obama. He even mentioned Trayvon Martin in this, and we know how active he has been in stirring up, many would say, controversy and protests in Ferguson. He says he's planning protests regardless of the outcome in Ferguson. It simply makes some people look at the situation and say, oh, I guess he's right. They're just coming after him for these reasons, Lars.
I'll tell you, Martha, the only thing that's going to get the IRS to really go after Al Sharpton is if he joins the Tea Party one of these days. And you know why he's trying to stir up trouble in Ferguson. He's literally going to put people's lives at risk because what it does is it increases the donations to his nonprofit organization, which is the only way he has a prayer, Reverend Sharpton, of paying off the $4.5 million he owes.
Leslie, I mean, he says we're talking about old taxes. We're current on all the taxes, but the state and federal taxes show that that the liens against his business remain active. I mean, one more time, what about the White House's relationship with him? The fact that he is an advisor to the White House on many of these issues. And, the president has said, stay the course in Ferguson, basically cheering on what Al Sharpton has done there.
Well, I think the tax issue in Ferguson are two entirely different issues. I mean, not even apples and oranges. They're not both fruits. When we look at Reverend Sharpton, which I have had some of my African-American friends say he's not my leader, he's the self-professed leader of the African-American community. And then there are others who feel that because of his celebrity and the fact that cameras will roll and if he has a press conference, reporters will come, that he speaks out for them. And I think many of the people in Ferguson feel that way. But I have to say, when I did see him include Ferguson with regard to the report on the taxes that he owes, back taxes that he and his organization owe in the New York Times. That really bothered me because, you know, Ferguson is about two lives: the lives of a young man, life of a young man that was lost, young, Michael Brown, and the life of an officer that we will soon see what a grand jury decides. So, you know, I don't feel that his relationship with the White House matters with regard to this tax. It is very common with back taxes for the IRS to place liens, work out payment plans, and
a lot of money.
When there are many people out there, whether it's Al Sharpton or otherwise,
right,
that drag
gotta
their
leave it
feet
there.
in paying back taxes.
Leslie and Lars, thank you very much. Good to have you both here. Unbelievable
Thanks,
story.
Martha.
Thank you, Mark.